Welcome to Tech Driven Business, brought to you by Innovative Solution Partners. I'm honored to welcome back Iver Zand, Vice President of Product Strategy for Augmented Business Intelligence at SAP. In this episode, we dive into what SAP really means by hybrid analytics. It's more than cloud versus on-prem solutions or data. Listen as Iver breaks it down in detail, especially if your company is using business objects. Welcome back, Iver. How are you?
Yeah, doing super well, Mustansir, and thanks for again having me. I love to be in your podcast, man.
Great. No, thanks for having you with us and sharing your insights. So, let me get into today's conversation. Because this is a special one, and the reason why I say that is a lot of SAP customers who currently have business objects in the landscape, and they're looking to SAP for some clear directions, right, on how to manage and balance the current analytics portfolio, at the same time, the move to the cloud analytics, right, or the so-called approach of hybrid analytics and the case for combining both cloud and on-premise. So with that, should we jump into our discussion?
Yeah, of course. Happy to talk to you on that topic. And I think what you said is very applicable. So customers are just massively moving to the cloud, but that goes in a certain speed. Yeah, and some of them go a little bit slower than the others, and meaning that today customers have a massive installed base of software, data sources, databases, sometimes business intelligence software installed on-premise, but gradually onboarding cloud as well. And of course, you want to have both worlds coming together some way. And I think that is one of the things that we are doing with hybrid analytics, exactly doing that. How can you bring the on-premise world together with the cloud world, Mustansir?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's what is going to be interesting for our listeners to kind of get an inside view from your side of what's going on. So let me start with this. So how does SAP support business objects as customers, that cannot yet massively onboard cloud? What is the direction for them?
Yeah, it's a super good question. Yeah, so I'm gonna open your question a little bit. Yeah, so you asked me, hey, how does SAP support business objects customers that want to go to the cloud? I would even like to say, bringing the cloud world together with the on-premise world is what we call hybrid analytics. And what do we mean with that, most sincere? What we mean with hybrid analytics is the ability to, from within a cloud product, so let's say SAP Analytics Cloud, an analytics product in the cloud, the ability to access hybrid data sources. And that could be a database that is installed on-premise, for example, BW or Oracle or HANA or whatever, or it could be an on-premise BI platform like BusinessObjects. Yeah. So what we have done to facilitate the gradual onboarding of on-premise customers towards the cloud, we have in Analytics Cloud the ability to connect to on-premise data sources. So how does that work? We can connect to on-premise databases in two ways. Either you can connect in an acquired way. What does that mean? I am in SAP Analytics Cloud. I access an on-premise database like HANA, BW, or Oracle. I fire the query from within Analytics Cloud. We take out the data, duplicate and copy that data into Analytics Cloud, which runs in the cloud, and we analyze over there. We can combine various data sources, no limits, what have you, and you can do your analytics. The second way of accessing on-premise data, for a number of data sources, we can also connect in a live way. We call that a real-time way. What happens then? Again, I have a BW or a HANA system on-premise. I am in Analytics Cloud, so I am part of a cloud product. And with a live connection, I again fire the query to the on-premise data source. But in this case, the data is not copied. No, the query is processed in the data source. And the only thing that we send to Analytics Cloud is some framing to create the graphs. With a live or real-time connection, there is no data leaving your data source. There is no data leaving your firewall. So it's super safe. So that is in terms of connectivity. In summary, from within the cloud product, SAP Analytics Cloud, we can connect to on-premise data sources in two ways. Acquired, meaning we duplicate and copy the data into Analytics Cloud, and we analyze there, or limited to a number of data sources, we go in a live way where we don't copy the data, so the data stays as is. That's one part of the answer. Second, most sincere, answering your specific question on business objects. If you just try to imagine, I said from within SAP Analytics Cloud, I can connect to on-premise databases, but that can also be an on-premise business objects server. So here we go. Imagine you are a very happy user of business objects and you want to gradually step into Analytics Cloud and benefit from all the innovations over there. What we can do is we can, from within SAP Analytics Cloud, connect to the universes that you have in your business object server so that all the work you've done in the past, all the investments you have done, they are not gone. We just reuse all that business knowledge in Analytics Cloud. Is that answering your question, most sincerely?
Yeah, it does. And I think that's super important, especially when you mention about the current investment. And I think that is the key, especially for customers who are using business objects. It's a lot of investment in terms of time and money that they have done in their current analytics approach that they're using. And yet they have this need or this drive to get into the cloud. And how can they best leverage the investment that they already have in place and then get into the new paradigm, right? So I think that key is that bridge between the current and the future.
I think there are a few points I want to highlight answering your question. Yeah? So how can they best leverage the investments that they already have done? And in my answer, there are a few technical, more on the technical side related answers, also one on the commercial side. So let me start again. Let's imagine we have the situation, a customer using business objects. Yeah, it's in place, it runs in production, and they start gradually onboarding Analytics Cloud. So how does that work? So number one is that, like I said, from within SAP Analytics Cloud, I can connect acquired or live to a universe. So most, as you know, business objects users, a lot of the business value is developed into the semantics of business objects, and we call that a universe. The formulas are there, the blending is there, there could be currency settings, there could be hierarchy setup, all that stuff that adds value to your... And from within Analytics Cloud, I can just access, live or acquired that type of universe and benefit from all the added value you brought in there over the last few years and build my reports on top of that universe. That is a way that works very, very well. And it allows you to choose your own speed. Yeah, so you can still use business objects. You bring SAP Analytics Cloud next to it, and you gradually onboard Analytics Cloud and start building your dashboards there. That is I would say one way. A second technical way, and it gets a little bit more technical now, most sincere, is that I know, and we all know, that a lot of the business objects customers use web intelligence. It's a bit the flagship module, I would say, from business objects. In web intelligence, a lot of customers build very complex logic. And most recently, we also allow you to, from within SAP Analytics Cloud, live connect to the webby data model structures directly. So you can hook in from Analytics Cloud into your web intelligence report, and everything you've done there, all your logic you build in there, so your semantics, your sometimes even ETL that they bring into web intelligence reports. You just reuse that. Yeah, it's not lost, and you reuse that in SAP Analytics Cloud. Those are primarily I would say, the technical answers, most sincere. Secondly, I don't know if you also want to talk about the functional and the commercialization elements as part of your questions.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about that, just to give a flavor to the listeners of what that entails.
Yeah, so very quickly. So if you look at the functional aspects in there, so imagine your business objects customer gradually moving to Analytics Cloud. You will have quite a long time, depending on your movement speed, that you use both in parallel. If you honestly look at your end users, they couldn't care less with what technology your dashboard is created. So what we have done, as part of Analytics Cloud, we ship the Analytics Catalog module. It comes with Analytics Cloud. And what is that Analytics Catalog module? It is basically the central landing page in the cloud where your end users would go to open a dashboard. And within that catalog, I can post the cards for not only Analytics Cloud dashboards, but also for business objects, reports and dashboard, and even for third-party reports and dashboards. So imagine your customer also uses Power BI and Tableau and Qlik. Again, you and I are passionate about technology. End users are probably not. They couldn't care less with what technology the dashboard is created. Well, as part of that journey, that hybrid Analytics Cloud analytics journey, we created one catalog where all the dashboards are listed next to each other very nicely with filtering or what have you. And it can either be business objects or Analytics Cloud or even third party. You just click, it uses single sign-on, and it opens in whatever technology it is, your dashboard. So very powerful functional aspect of hybrid analytics, yeah, allowing you to use both technologies in parallel.
I like that.
Third element, yeah, maybe most sincere third element of my question is there's also commercial aspect, of course. If you are a business objects user and you gradually move over to Analytics Cloud, how would you feel in paying for two products? I don't think you like it. Yeah. So what have we done? Business objects users can make use of what we call the cloud extension policy. What does that mean? If you have business objects maintenance fees that you are not using because your users gradually move over to Analytics Cloud, you can use the unused maintenance fees and trade them for Analytics Cloud licenses. So that makes it basically, as we say in Europe, a kind of a null operation, a zero operation. You take out some of the maintenance fees that you are used to pay and you reuse them to use to onboard SAP Analytics Cloud licenses. And I think that's a very nice commercial aspect that allows you to really go hybrid and start using both in parallel.
I think that is super important, and that is thank you for sharing that thought, because a lot of customers I work with, and I got a history with BobJ and Webby and dashboards, and I can relate to the investments that they have made. This commercial aspect will be very, very important for them. Two things over there. One is it gives them a way to justify the move to the cloud, right? I mean, that's the key word, right? How they can move in a way that is financially viable for them, as well as allowing their users to get into the latest technology, the new ways of consuming the data and analyzing the information that they have in the current analytics portfolio. So that was really, really good. I like that, the way that you presented. I mean, I think this is going to be something not only important for customers, but especially customers who are dealing with multiple analytics components in their environments, right? This can give them a way out of what they're currently doing versus what they want to do in the long term. So So that kind of brings me to my next discussion point is, what does the future of business object look like? Can you share some insights on that?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, so a few answers to your question, Mustansir. So first of all, I encourage everybody listening to this podcast to look for the statement of direction for analytics. We define our strategy for both Analytics Cloud as well as Business Objects in a document called Statement of Direction. We share it publicly. It is on our website. If you Google it, Statement of Direction, SAP Analytics, you will immediately find it, where we, in 4 pages, exactly summarize what is the strategy, what components do we support till what year, where do we invest, where are the maintenance plans, what have you. Yeah, so I think that is a must-read for every listener into this podcast and person interested in SAP Analytics. That's one. Second, business objects. We have publicly shared in that document that I just mentioned that we minimum support business objects till 2027. And the reason that I tell that, most sincere, is that customers using business objects today, happy with it, looking into Analytics Cloud and maybe slowly start there, but worried about, hey, am I supported with SAP Business Objects? You can sleep very well. You are supported for a very, very long time ahead. Yeah. We last year, in the summer of 2020, we released the latest, most modern version of BI Suite, Business Objects BI Suite, called version 4.3. And what you see as themes over there is that we go to a bit more simplification. Yeah. So we invest a lot in the BI Suite, in the platform itself, in the web intelligence components, in analysis for Office. But you also see that we sunset a number of components where we now say, hey, you need to do that in Analytics Cloud. Give you a few examples. We stopped SAP Business Objects Excelsius dashboards. Yeah, we already did that. Web application designer. Yeah, that whole use case is moved to Analytics Cloud. Lumira Discovery, that whole use case is into SAP Analytics Cloud. We still support Lumira Designer. Yeah, but with Analytics Designer as part of SAP Analytics Cloud, you probably also better go in that direction. And analysis for OLAP is also stopped. Yeah, so a lot of the use cases move to SAP Analytics Cloud. Where we heavily invest in business objects is analysis for Office, use cases primarily for planning models, directly querying BW or HANA. That is still a very strong use case. And of course, we massively invest in Webby for operational reporting and governed reporting, and in a number of modules of Crystal reports, most sincere.
No, I think that's good to know. And rest assured for customers who are heavily invested in business objects, like you said, I mean, the end of the line is not anywhere close, so they can still use it. But that kind of takes me to the whole idea of hybrid now. So what use cases or customer stories that you can share with us who are currently doing this hybrid approach and how successful they have been? Can you share with us some examples over here?
Oh yes, I can share a few. So, and I'm not going to say every time the same names. Yeah, so I already touched in the previous podcast a company like Signify, well known for Philips, who gradually moved away from business objects step by step, and did everything in SAP Analytics Cloud now. By the way, not only business objects where they stepped aside from, also BPC, the whole planning stuff, all coming together in SAP Analytics Cloud. But let me take some other examples. Yeah, so if we talk about hybrid analytics, and remember that we spoke about that catalog, that one single place where all my end users can go and access any insight they have. Well, there's this big cola company in your country, most sincere, and it's not Coca-Cola, but the other one, that uses that technology for all their insights. Yeah, so they use SAP Analytics Cloud and the Analytics Catalog to bring their users together, and their users can just access from one single place every insight they are looking to. If we go back to this area where I live, look at a company like BMW, for example, car manufacturer, big one. They were used to use relatively older technology, Business Objects Explorer, for example, to do self-service data exploration. That is all now moving to SAP Analytics Cloud. They even bring in their planning components in there. So they are really on a standardization journey. But other use cases, we have countless over here, insurance and banking companies, even banking companies who are not typically so keen on cloud. They now also see that sometimes cloud is even safer than on-premise, and they now start onboarding SAP Analytics Cloud. So we can also see with the product itself that if you would ask me, are there certain industries where we are really called out, or are there certain industries where you never see an SAP Analytics Cloud? I don't think that is specifically the case. We see a kind of a consistent adoption of SAP Analytics Cloud and cloud analytics in general with all of our customers. I cannot specifically recall an industry that stands out. And I think they all, piece by piece, start going there. What we do see, though, is that there are a lot of customers, business objects that use it side by side. Yeah. So because they want to go a bit slower, and you can perfectly, like we discussed today, use business objects and SAP Analytics Cloud side by side, Mustansir.
And I think that is the key, right? I mean, what I'm hearing and what my listeners will get out of this session is, two takeaways. One is, if you're still a business objects customer and you want to stick with it, at least in the short term or even long term, there is definitely support available to you from SAP. But if you are on this journey where you want to move on to the cloud and you like to have your current investments being leveraged, you have that option with hybrid. And I think that is a very powerful message, especially this concept of cataloging. And I think even for myself, I mean, this is a game changer. Customers who are using multiple technologies and they may not in the short term go all in with SAP Analytics Cloud, the cataloging approach allows them to use all the investments in one place. And I think that, and from a user perspective, I think I always want to bring my conversation back to the business user, because that is important. At the end of the day, like you said, maybe I'm too passionate about analytics or technology, and you are, but a user is somebody who is interacting with the application day in, day out, and they want to have one way of interacting, one experience, and they want to have that experience as easy and as palatable as possible. So,
and just that we already discussed, and let's be very open and honest towards each other. End users could not care less with what technology things are made. Yeah? They want to be informed. They want to trust the data. It should be trustworthy, quick, to the point, and easy accessible. And that is the reason why we put Analytics Catalog as part of SAP Analytics Cloud. So it's part of the product, not a separate license or what have you. It's just there. I'm also keen enough to admit and to understand that most of the big companies do not have one analytics tool. Yeah, everywhere I come, yeah, even though they might be standardized to our product, that's wonderful, but always the other products are there as well. Or it's the other way around. They are standardized to another product, and we are limited there as well. That's okay. I understand that. They don't want to take the risk maybe to bet on one product. I understand that. In the end users, they are not interested in that discussion. Yeah, they want to know the dashboard. Allow me, show me where it is. I want to click it. It needs to open and I need to trust it. Well, that's not what we do most sincere with Analytics Catalog.
That's really good to hear. I think that's the key element of this conversation that we're having today. So with that, I know we come to our end of our conversation. So I'd like to thank you very much for taking time out from your busy schedule and sharing your insights with our listeners.
Super good. And thanks for having me again, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Tech Driven Business, brought to you by Innovative Solution Partners. Iver did a really great deep dive into how SAP is supporting all of its customers that are at different spots in the analytics journey. Regardless if you are on-prem, in the cloud, or anywhere in between, SAP has a solution for you. We would love to hear from you. Continue the conversation by connecting with me on LinkedIn or Twitter. Learn more about innovative solution partners and schedule a free consultation by visiting isolutionpartners.com. Never miss a podcast by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Information is in the show notes.